Alan, as you said earlier, was the last person to sign on. Uh,
What if everything you thought you knew about the end of MASH asterisk was completely off? The emotional finale, the teary goodbyes, it all made the show's departure feel sudden and tragic, like it was ripped away too soon. But here's the twist. MASH asterisk wasn't canceled. It walked off the stage on its own terms after dominating TV for 11 seasons. So why do millions still believe CBS pulled the plug over something scandalous? Well, that's where things get interesting. Because behind the laugh track and Scrubs, MASH asterisk was hiding something far more rebellious, storylines so provocative, jokes so cleverly disguised, and scenes so dark they sparked rumors that still echo today. Let's uncover the quiet defiance that turned a war comedy into one of the boldest shows in TV history. It all started with one script so outrageous. CBS didn't just edit it, they flat out banned it. Titled Hawkeye on the Double. The episode was pitched during Maz H's very first season in 1972. The premise, Hawkeye juggling two nurses, one in the day, one at night, without either knowing about the other. But the twist is what pushed it over the edge. Both women team up and claim he got them pregnant. Not one, but both. For CBS, that crossed a line. Larry Gelbart, the creative force behind the show, later admitted this was the only time CBS completely shut a script down. Which is wild when you realize the same network had aired episodes about military corruption, amputations, and mental breakdowns on the battlefield. Apparently, satirizing war was fine, but messing with moral norms around sexuality, that was a no-go. CBS claimed the script leaned too far into dalliance, and not enough into the anti-war identity they had accepted from MASH. Asterisk, but here's the kicker: this rejection didn't discourage Gelbart and the writers. It made them smarter. From that moment on, they became masters of subtext, layering controversial commentary beneath humor, irony, and surgical sarcasm. They stopped swinging hammers and started hiding scalpels, cutting deep with a smile. And years later, the banned script wasn't lost forever. It surfaced in the MASH, Martinis and Medicine Collection asterisk DVD box set, where fans finally got to see what CBS was so afraid of, long before high-definition remasters and pause buttons. MASH snuck in a middle finger to the system literally. In the 1974 episode, The Trial of Henry Blake, a throwaway note appears on screen that reads, "Give the guard a F gallon." That F didn't stand for fruit punch. It was the actual F word, hidden in plain sight, and here's the crazy part: no one noticed. Not the network. Not the censors. Back then, CBS had one of the strictest censorship rules in television. You could show blood. You could imply death. But one curse word, that was a cancel-worthy offense. The fact that this got through proves how clever MASH's asterisk writers really were. This wasn't a careless slip, it was a hidden act of rebellion. A message to anyone paying attention: we know the rules. This tiny four-letter word became a symbol of everything MASH asterisk did best: challenge authority, quietly push boundaries, and embed meaning where no one expected it. It wasn't about profanity for shock's sake. It was about exposing the absurdity of what was allowed versus what wasn't. You could show a soldier losing a limb, but don't you dare write the word that rhymes with duck. In the end, this hidden curse wasn't just a joke hit, was a wink to the audience. Proof that MASH asterisk was never really playing by the rules. On the surface, MASH asterisk looked like a quirky medical comedy about wartime misfits. But underneath the wisecracks and surgeries, it was a playground for innuendo, just subtle enough to fly over the heads of CBS censors. One of the boldest examples came when Hawkeye, rifling through someone's belongings, casually asked, "Is this Margaret's vibrator?" Today, that line would raise eyebrows. Back then, it aired. Showrunner Larry Gelbart knew exactly how to play the game. He understood that if you wrapped a dirty joke in medical jargon or delivered it fast enough, it could pass unnoticed. The network execs weren't up to speed on slang or sexual references, and Gelbart used that blind spot to his advantage. In another infamous line, Frank Burns says he prefers a snug harbor, which sounds poetic until you realize it was a not-so-veiled nod to female anatomy. These weren't just one-off gags. They were part of a larger rebellion strategy. MASH tested how far it could push within the bounds of safe television. The writers built entire layers of meaning that only the sharpest viewers would catch. Younger audiences, watching reruns decades later with better context and modern slang, started realizing how much had gone unnoticed. And with that realization came a deeper appreciation for the show. It wasn't just clever, it was fearless. At the height of MASH's power, when it was pulling millions of viewers each week. The writers pitched a storyline so real and raw that CBS didn't just reject it, they refused to let it enter the room. The idea, soldiers in Korea deliberately exposing themselves to the freezing cold, hoping to get sick enough to be sent home. No gunfire, no battlefield, injuries, just desperation, fatigue, and mental collapse. It wasn't a joke. Larry Gelbart, always pushing boundaries, believed comedy could tell the hardest truths. But CBS wasn't willing to risk it, not in the early 70s, when the country was already divided over Vietnam. They feared showing U.S. soldiers trying to escape their duty would be labeled treasonous. The backlash, they assumed, would be nuclear, so they buried it. The episode never made it to script. It wasn't even allowed into the official pipeline. Instead of showing men freezing in snowbanks, the writers found ways to weave that same despair into later episodes. You saw characters unraveling slowly. Laughs, masking, pain, men cracking under pressure, grasping for any way out. It was no longer about one episode, it became the DNA of the show. MASH asterisk didn't need to scream to tell the truth. It whispered it, over and over, until you felt it. It was supposed to be a farewell and emotional goodbye after 11 groundbreaking seasons. But instead, MASH's asterisk finale left audiences speechless and haunted. Titled Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. The episode aired in 1983 and drew over 106 million viewers, more than some presidential elections. Yet, what everyone remembers isn't the ratings. It's the moment Hawkeye, broken and hollow, recalls a trauma so unbearable it fractured his mind. The scene was unlike anything seen in primetime comedy or any network television at the time. Fans were shocked. Critics debated whether the show had gone too far. And slowly, a myth was born. That MASH asterisk had been canceled because of this moment. That the darkness of that final twist crossed a line CBS couldn't defend. But the truth? That's not how it happened. MASH ended on its own terms, at the peak of its power. The network didn't cut the finale. They gave it a slot. What made the baby scene unforgettable wasn't just its brutality, it was its honesty. It stripped away the humor, the charm, the coping mechanisms, and exposed what war really costs. Hawkeye wasn't just a doctor anymore. He was every soldier who saw too much and broke under the weight. And that moment changed what television could do. It challenged the boundary between comedy and drama, between entertainment and truth. MASH asterisk was never just a sitcom, it was a Trojan horse, wheeled into primetime under the guise of comedy only, to unload truth bombs one episode at a time. Behind every punchline was a protest, behind every gag a gut punch. The writers didn't just challenge the rules, they learned how to twist them, beat them, and outsmart them. Whether it was a banned script, a hidden F-bomb, or a scene that blurred the line between entertainment and emotional devastation. MASH asterisk reshaped what television could say and how it could say it. So next time you watch, pay attention. Because the most subversive moments, they weren't the ones that got cut. They were the ones that made it through.